You can level plenty of criticism at Samsung Mobile, taking the safe route with specifications, charging through the nose for their base and plus models, locking down the bootloaders going forward, and maybe even that they haven't really pushed on since the Galaxy S25 Ultra in a lot of ways. But there's one thing about Samsung Galaxy phones, and the Ultra in particular, that sets itself apart from every other device on the market. And today, I want to talk about that. Hey guys, I'm Ryan Thomas, and Samsung Galaxy phones have, for the longest time, been quite well rounded, even if they haven't been the best at any single area of hardware and software. It's arguably been like this since the Galaxy S3 back in 2012. The Ultra class, as I discussed in my recent video, follows the Galaxy Note formula that we loved for so many years. And one of the reasons why the Note was so successful is that it packed in some of the best specs, the best display, the brilliant cameras, and also included the S Pen to complement that massive canvas. And a big battery to keep you going so you can use that big screen for longer. That is the formula. But I wasn't particularly kind to this year's Galaxy Ultra, the 25, because it didn't seem to really advance in any meaningful way over, well, the last 2, maybe even 3 versions of the Ultra. And I think that's because when you call your product the Ultra phone, one would expect it to be the very best of what's possible. And this phone isn't that. There are devices out there with bigger cameras, better specs, bigger batteries, faster charging, some that do all of that at the same time. By the way guys, really trying to hit 500,000 subscribers, so if you wouldn't mind hitting that button, it would mean a lot to us. Cheers. The S25 Ultra is the mainstream's version of the best phone, the one that your sister or your uncle probably has actually heard of. And when you stop comparing the specs and you start looking at the actual usable fundamentals, the user experience of this thing, you understand why these phones, and the S25 Ultra in particular, are so popular and loved by all of their users. This phone is now 6 months old. It has dropped in price quite dramatically from the once eye-watering peak of $1,300 US to a more palatable $950 or so. I've seen that deal on Amazon. There are other deals that you can have depending on which retailer you shop in, and also your region is going to play a massive part in this. So that price puts this a lot closer to what people are willing to fork out for a top tier phone, the likes of the Pixel 9 Pro on launch, or even the OnePlus 13. And the S25 Ultra at this new price is perhaps the best in class, particularly when you look at it as a long-term purchase, when you're not going to switch from in 18 months' time. Because even after half a year on the market, this phone manages to be the king of all-rounders, and the likes of the Pixel 10 Pro on the horizon, and then later on the iPhone 17 Pro series to join it, I am confident that the S25 Ultra will remain at the top, and the name of the game here is its versatility. The S25 Ultra is like a Swiss Army knife. Sure, all the tools on here might not be as good as if you had individual ones, but what we have here is definitely good enough, and it's so useful to have it with you all the time wherever you go. Take the cameras for example. These are some pretty good pieces of hardware, and the software to go with it really elevates them. You already know about this phone's cameras. It has a really good main, it has a decent ultra wide, a meh 3 times, a good quality 5 times, and a good but not amazing selfie camera. Immediately that's versatility. And then when you head into the camera app, as you would start snapping pics, there are very few phones that can match this reliable quality across all of the different lenses. The 8K option is also great for video, although I would say the 4K is a bit better, especially considering you can go to 60 and even 120 FPS. That's just really handy to have. And that's great, but what 90% of people will be doing is just the tip of the iceberg with this thing. The customizable color presets are really cool for getting some more character in the images, and crucially keeping a lot of the quality. There's log recording in video mode with Pro Assists, which definitely takes this video into the pro video game. There's so many modes and options and settings and resolutions to choose from, and you can tweak all of that in the camera app. Again, this camera is like a Swiss Army knife. And the quality here from all of the lenses isn't bad, but particularly from that 200 megapixel main sensor that is by far the best in a mainstream flagship right now. Rumour has it the S26 Ultra will have a slight upgrade to the camera, the one that's been the same for like 3 generations now, but to be honest, after taking a few hundred photos with this phone, it's easy to see why they haven't upgraded that main sensor yet. Google and Apple just simply cannot touch this sensor in terms of pure sensor quality on the one times. The performance and battery life, whilst might not be the top of the benchmarking leaderboards, is comfortably some of the best that you can get in a smartphone. And I think since the Snapdragon 8 Elite was such a big upgrade over the previous generation, this might be the chip to take you into the next decade without significant hardware slowdown. It doesn't seem to matter what you throw at the Ultra, it just handles it with ease. And specifically the Ultra, because the same chip found in the Galaxy S25 Edge seems to heat up an uncomfortable amount, making the device feel almost broken in how hot it gets. No such problems with this thing though, and that's perhaps helped by the much larger chassis. It certainly seems that way. I still believe One UI is the best version of Android, complete with all the software tools and features like Galaxy AI Suite if you want it, and disableable if you don't. It doesn't feel like One UI gets in the way like HyperOS or even MagicOS can. And Samsung's commitment to 7 years of software upgrades will certainly see the phone supported into the 2030s, so compatibility with your apps and even security and stuff like banking shouldn't be a problem for a very, very long time. Samsung is still, I believe, the king of making use of the big screen, so this panel is an absolute beauty, especially with that anti-glare coating that Samsung's had on the past couple of generations now. But the S Pen is really what seals the deal here. Not only a fun gimmick for Googling whilst waiting for transit, but so handy for marking up images and screenshots, along with signing documents, and for those times where you just need something hand-drawn or handwritten. And crucially, you can only get that with a Samsung Ultra, unless you want to carry around a separate stylus. The stowaway setup here is just unmatched, and further accentuates the versatility that I've spoken about all video. Because the truth is, the one thing Samsung cannot be beaten on is versatility in its Samsung Galaxy Ultra series. It might seem a little simple or a nothing burger on the surface of things, but when you actually deep it and think about how much people are using their phones these days, and for all different kinds of applications, aside from doom scrolling, the versatility is not something to take lightly. Some will always look at the Ultra as an overpriced and overpowered thing, but for enthusiasts and those who just use their phone above every other gadget in their life, the Ultra is simply unbeatable at what it does. Are you a big fan of the Galaxy Ultra phones? I've dailied a few Galaxies down the years, the S7 Edge, the S10, the S23 Ultra. I'm currently using the S25 Edge. These are all brilliant phones, and what I've loved about them is simply how well-rounded they've all been. I've never felt like I was really compromising heavily on really any area, and the software has always been a good balance of features and clean design. Okay, always, maybe since One UI. Let me know what your favourite Samsung Galaxy phone was or is, and what you're running also in the comments section. And whilst you're down there in the comments, be sure to hit like if you enjoyed today's content and subscribe to never miss another upload. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Ryan Thomas, and I will catch you later. Cheers.